Hey guys, I'm going to share a word that I believe will encourage you. This came from an experience that I had in the early morning last week. And as I was waking from sleep, I felt the earth shaking and I heard a loud train. So the earth was shaking and a train was coming. And in my spirit, this was a spiritual encounter of sorts. I didn't see anything. I felt it and I heard it of the train coming in, and it wasn't going to stop. It was loud. It was shaking the earth, and it was booming. And I had this on June 14th in the early morning, and when I woke, the experience was so real that I actually thought the earth was shaking, and that's how real it was. But when I woke, the Lord reminded me of a dream that I had had back in the spring of 2020. And in this dream, I shared this dream on the channel before, but there was another piece to the dream that the Lord didn't release me to share. And now I'm released to share it because it goes with this train coming encounter. I know many of you have had dreams about a train coming or a train. And so I hope that this will help encourage you and give some insight into what the Lord is about to do. This dream was attached the same night, right after the dream of that, where I was standing before President Trump's desk, and he handed me all of the white ballots, the pure ballots, and then I had to slide down landslide after landslide after landslide after landslide and carry them to the end of this huge obstacle course, where in turn it was announced the victory that he had won. And I represented the church carrying those pure ballots down to the end of the course. And so, but attached to that dream, right afterward, I was standing at a train station, and this huge train, I could hear it, and the earth was shaking, and it was coming into the station. And what I knew in my spirit in the dream was that this train would not be stopped, that whatever got in its way would just go flying and be destroyed. So I actually had to jump out of the way because of how sudden and quickly the train came. And then as I jumped out of the way, I saw a train that was parked on the side that was inactive and not actually working. And as I looked into it, somebody pushed me into that train car and closed the door, and I got very sick in the train car. And that was the end of the dream. And so I knew that the dreams were related because almost always, if the dream is from the Lord and he's speaking to you, then whatever dreams occur in the same night almost always are related. Not always, but I have found that almost they are always related. There's a reason he gave them together or side by side, and there's something to be sought to see how they're connected. And so the Lord brought that dream back up to me when I woke up June 14th last week, of that this is the same train. And the train that is coming, and this is the word I want to share with you, the train that is coming, that I felt in my spirit last week, is the plan of God that cannot be stopped. If you think about it, a train is a vehicle of transportation that cannot be stopped. It's going to plow through whatever is in its way. If the conductor tries to stop it, there's so much power in that train that it will take a long time to stop. So there's a sense of the force and the power of whatever that train represents, and it's unstoppable, right? And that is the plan of God that's coming, and it's gonna come suddenly. It's gonna come quickly. We're gonna have to almost have this feeling of like jumping out of the way because of how quickly it comes. And I believe that plan is connected to the dream about the pure ballots and all the obstacle course landslides that we had to go through to get them to victory. But that God's plan for the nation will not be stopped, just like a power train coming into the station. We better get out of the way and not stand in front of it, because it's going to happen. And I believe in my spirit, with all the other things God has shown me, that it's not going to be a peaceful ride, right? It's going to be a lot of exposure, we've already seen so much exposure, but more exposure. We're going to see more exposure of how wicked the wicked are, if that makes sense, how evil the evil is. Those who are calling evil good and good evil, we're going to see them almost like on a heightened level. We're going to see storms in the nation. And this is all part of how the plan of God is going to be have its way. And I believe that train also includes the revival and the reformation of God that's going to be unstoppable and come into the nation. It's just we have to get out of the way of the plan of God. And that's what I hear him saying through the dream and through that encounter last week, hearing and feeling that train coming. It's coming, and we need to make sure that we are on the right side of things, and that means the right side of the Word of God and listening to the one single pure voice of the Spirit of God and those who attest to that Spirit. Though that's how we need to make sure we don't stand in the way of the plan of God. And the other thing in the dream was that there's a warning, because I believe that train car that was parked and not going anywhere, but just there at the train station, represents what the enemy is doing and what the enemy's agenda and plans are. And because I looked in to see and kind of gave attention to that, this person pushed me in and locked me in, and I got sick. And I believe that that's a warning that we wouldn't keep our eyes on what the enemy is doing and how evil and how scary the times we're in, that we wouldn't be sucked into that, and even the lies of the media. If we get sucked into that, it's a trap. And that's really what the Lord was showing through that dream, that it's a trap. And then the sickness could be physical sickness, spiritual sickness, mental sickness. We'll actually witness that those who get sucked into the agenda and the plans of the enemy and start believing those lies, or even just paying too much attention to what he's doing, will actually get spiritually, physically, or mentally sick and trapped in that. And so we need to be praying against that for ourselves and praying against it for those around us, that we would not even get one eye off of Jesus and off of what he's doing and his plan, so we don't get sucked into that trap. So I pray that you're blessed by this. The train of God is coming. The glory train, the plan of God that cannot be stopped, is coming to the nations. To the nation of the United States is what specifically he was showing me, but I believe it's the nations. And though it'll be a rocky ride, a lot of trials and storms involved, it is the plan of God, and we need to stand out of the way and get in agreement with that plan.